Good evening, everyone. This is Om here from CFS Team Chanakya. Right. So this video is being made for one particular script, that is Engineers India. Now, why Engineers India? Because the script looked pretty interesting. So we decided to take the script and make a video on it with just some views that we have and post it to all of you so that you could probably go visit the script and validate this view as to how it works in the coming days, right? And we are going to see what's in store on this particular counter. All right, so welcome to one and all. This is the first video that is coming out to the public on the CFS channel, and we will have more videos going forward over here. All right, yeah, so let's get into the details of this. Okay, so what I'm using over here is a market profile chart. This AFL is effectively created by Rishi from Just Fintech. So I wanted to let you know that this is a AFL which is widely available for everyone to use, and we are using this AFL and we are deriving the views based on this. All right, so let's take it from here. Okay, so what has Engineers India done? So if you are seeing, Engineers India has been in a sideways movement or sideways consolidation, okay, for quite some time now. Okay, so it's been in this movement for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days of sideways consolidation in a script, in a range, right, in a 15-pointer range, if one were to call it, from 251, 252 zones to 269 zones, right? So it's in a 15 to 17 point range, okay, and it's a pretty heavy counter on the futures and option space, this particular stock, Engineers India, right? So what did this counter do, right? If you came here to 25th of August, right, just before expiry, we had a P kind of profile here, means there was significant buying. There was a prior trend day, okay. The prior trend day led to a P kind of profile, and when such things are seen and if there is sideways movement, usually the stock is going to go and hit the highs if it is going to hold the value area lows, right? So that was the thing. So it did hold on to the lows there, and it did go and hit the high of 276. Okay, and after that it again went into a sideways consolidation of a good 6 days, and it broke down. Okay, so if this breakdown were to be real, right, so this should have again tried and reclaimed the prior highs, should have not reclaimed the prior highs and should have fallen further, but that's not happened here. It's again gone into a sideways consolidation. Okay, so if someone were to see this, okay, this is a 20-point dip from the top. Okay, so why did this dip happen in the first place? So first let's see that. Okay, so if you see here, there was a gap up opening, okay, on the 7th of September, okay, and this gap up opening created a anomaly here in this zone, okay, at 275. And when this happens, we usually say within the next 5 days you need to revisit it back, otherwise that is going to start acting as a very strong resistance in this case, or very strong zone. Okay, so there is a long-term resistance now sitting at 275 to 276 zones on Engineers India. There is no doubts about it, okay, because it is tried and did it twice, it couldn't sustain and it has fallen off the cliff. Okay, so when it came down over here, okay, so what's happened to this counter? So from this highs of 275 we came down a good 15% to say. So you corrected 24 points. So 24 points on a 250 counter is close to 15 to 20%. I'm not getting into the minor nitty-gritty. So it's had a 20% correction. So this correction is now led to a sideways consolidation on this counter. When such things have been happening on this counter, there is something interesting which happened over here. Okay, so on this particular day, Okay. This is on 20th. We again have this anomaly which got created at 269. Okay, so this is the T plus 3 now, right? And we have 2 more days to see if we are going to go and test this back. So what is the probability that we are headed back? So let's weigh out all the possibilities and see what is happening. Okay. So from 269, when we have started this downward drift, okay, we have come back to this zones of 256. Okay. So on 256, if I'm coming here, we know that there is long-term supports now sitting at 251, because there is where you broke out from and you came here, tested this, and you have rotated back. So there is this has been a zone of rotation in which you are moving in a sideways movement. If you see, the values are coinciding and there has been absolute overlaps, at least to the tune that the values have been overlapping, right? So this is a complete sideways trend which is happening with a anomaly at the top, which we feel should be revisited in the near future. Okay, so Engineers India per se is a very strong script. If I'm going into the cash market counter and seeing how it has performed, right, on the cash front itself, this has been in a strong uptrend, right? So this is not a weak script at all. Now this is facing some minor resistance and it's coming back. So even on the cash market, if I'm looking at the cash segment, right, it has great supports at the range of 251, right? So if you're going to give it a premium of 2 rupees or say 1 rupee on the future space, this is again going to start acting as a crucial support zone. So in other words, this 252 or 253 to 251 zones is a very important support for Engineers India, right? And what has it done on the other side? If I'm just looking at it, you can see this, right? So you are within that trend which has taken off from here. You went up, you came down, and you're in the sideways consolidation. So this patterns, when you have seen them, usually they lead to a breakout kind of formation. Okay, so even on the RSI front, the RSI is pretty much bottoming out on this. There have been very few instances when it has gone beyond it, right? So it is at that resistance level. So having seen this, how does the data look? That is very important for one to know. So let's come back here and see. On 24th August, if I'm going back to this chart, okay, so this is the 25th of August. So the 24th of August was the trend day, and that was followed by a P-shaped profile on 25th of August. So on the 24th, if I were to be going, I had huge OI which came there on 24th of August. So if I were to be looking at that, the value there was 254, the high. The next day, when the OIs were pretty significant again, and we had a great volume traction, or there was number of contracts traded which was the highest in this whole series, that was formed with a open low kind of situation which happened at 252 to 252.9 to 252.15 zones. So when this kind of things happen, that zone itself becomes of great importance. So between 254 and 252, this is going to act as a great support. So if this is going to act as a great support, and this anomaly here says this probably needs a revisit in the next 2 days, and if the OIs and other studies that we are putting together says this is going to act as a support, given the fact that even the spot has long-term supports at that price zones, when we go back we see that, right? So there have been gaps, breakaway gaps which have come there in the past. It's been resisted there, it's taken supports here, so we are coming back into that zones in a long time trend. The likelihood of it getting supported here is again pretty high compared to the likelihood of it having a drop. Okay. So if there is a drop, the drop is going to be very severe. That is a known fact. Okay, but assuming that this gets the support here and this gets the support in the zones, and we are expecting the anomaly over here to get retested, because there might come supports here. Okay, this seems to be a good counter with a very good risk reward setup which is sitting there in place. So if this breaks, then there is a bigger problem. If 252 or 251 on Engineers India future the support were to break over here, we have been in a big consolidation in the sideways. This might lead to significant falls below. Okay. Falls to the tune of 234 to 241 is a easy fall that is going to come if this happens. Okay, so the risk reward over here is pretty much in favor of it going up if you are trading here. Okay, and one could use options for their advantage in such things to take a pretty decent trade setup, right? So that is how Engineers India is stacked up, and this is our reading on it. So be cognizant of the fact that this counter is pretty much closer to its support. It has been in a big sideway movement, and there is an anomaly on top which needs a revisit. Okay, so if this does not get revisited, again, as we told, the last time we saw this, there was a 20-pointer drop, 25-pointer drop from here when that anomaly did not get revisited in the 5 days, and that happened. In this case, it still not happened, right? So we have 2 more days to see how we are going to progress. So we are almost at that supports, and if you don't hold the supports, then this is like almost a given, right? This trade to 241 zones, or probably even to the 237 zones, is like a given on this counter. Okay, so Engineers India, even on the OI front, when we are going and looking at the futures data, this is where it took support, and this is where it started its move from, this 254 to 252 zones. If it breaks this, then the next trades that happened were in the range of 237 zones, right? So 237 is here, right? So this is pretty much that 237 to 234 zones. So we are going to expect a correction coming into the zones if that breaks there. So it is at a very crucial juncture. The risk reward is fantastic over here if one were to be looking for a trade. So see if 251 and 254 the zone is going to hold. If the zones are not going to hold, then the correction is going to be severe on this counter. If it holds back, it should be heading back, and it should probably be even taking this resistance out and heading much higher in the days to come, okay, provided the zones hold out. So one can keep a watch on this counter and take decisions accordingly. Alright, so this is the first video from CFS for you guys. Hope you enjoy it. Take care, happy trading, and have a fantastic day ahead. Thanks for listening. Bye.